Hello witches, wizards, and those who are yet to receive their Hogwarts school letters, welcome to my Harry Potter kitchen. This is a YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, creating recipes for every item of food and drink that we find inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we created the ultimate love potion cocktail that will definitely make someone say I love you, then check out the link down below in the description to catch up. And if you're new to the kitchen and you want to see some more recipes, then hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell and you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, I've got something new for you to try. Okay, so it's time to head back into the Chamber of Secrets to find out what's next. Okay, so there's been a bit of a commotion because Harry has been sent a singing Valentine, which he doesn't want to listen to, and he ends up spilling some ink over the diary, which soaks it all up, so that gives him an idea, and later that night he starts writing in the diary, and it replies. He then gets sucked into it, and it transports him back to the first time that the chamber was opened, and we see Tom Riddle talking to Professor Dippet, who was the headmaster at the time, and it sounds like Hagrid was behind the creature being released. So that's the end of chapter 13. Let's move on to chapter 14, Cornelius Fudge. So we're with Harry, Ron and Hermione as they debate talking to Hagrid, or do they even believe it was true that he could have released the monster? Then we're getting ready for our next Quidditch match. It's going to be Gryffindors versus Hufflepuff. Just before it kicks off, we find out that it's cancelled. Professor McGonagall comes and takes Harry away because Hermione has been petrified. Now they know they need to get moving, so he takes his invisibility cloak and goes to see Hagrid, and that's where I can see our next recipe. He poured them both large mugs of boiling water. He had forgotten to add tea bags and was just putting a slab of fruitcake on a plate. Looks like it's time to enjoy some more of Hagrid's treats. If you'd like to recreate Hagrid's Christmas fruitcake, then all of the ingredients, measurements and instructions you'll need are on my website, bradleybakes.co.uk. The link is down below in the description. So today we are serving up a fruitcake from Hagrid, and last year during the Philosopher's Stone we made Aunt Petunia's fruitcake, which was a light twist on the Christmas cake, but it didn't have icing. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make Hagrid's version of a Christmas cake that he might give to Harry. So we'll decorate it on top with some more icing inspired by a certain other cake that Hagrid has made. First up, we need to make that cake sponge, which we're going to pack full of fruit. Then we'll get that in the oven and come back for some decoration later. To make your light fruitcake sponge mix, all you need to do is cream together your butter and sugar in a bowl until light and fluffy. Scrape down the sides and then carry on mixing. In a separate jug, I'm going to crack my eggs and then whisk them lightly until they're nice and combined. You can then slowly pour this into your butter and sugar mixture. Keep on beating until it's well combined. Next, I'm going to scrape the sides down again before adding in my flour along with my flavourings. So that's going to be vanilla, mixed spice and some ground ginger. I've used light soft brown sugar to get some caramelised flavour into this cake, but to add an extra element of molasses, I'm also adding in some black treacle. This is also going to help get a nice deep golden colour to our cake as well. We also want to pack this one full of fruit, so I'm adding in some dried mixed fruits and chopping up some glacé cherries, which I'll also add in too. You can make these pieces as small or as large as you like. Then I'm popping the stand mixer back on a low speed to fold in all those fruits. And then once the mixture has come together, you can stop mixing as we don't want to overwork it. At this point, I'm going to prepare my baking tin, so I've traced around the bottom and then cut out some baking paper, greased the whole tin with some butter and then line the bottom before pouring my cake mix in. Use an offset spatula to level off the top, and then that's going to go into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit to bake for about 30 to 40 minutes. You'll know it's cooked once a skewer is inserted into the middle and comes out clean. Okay, so now that our cake is completely cool, we can move on to the decoration. And as I mentioned, this is going to be Hagrid's Christmas cake for Harry. So we're going to use some inspiration from the birthday cake that he made Harry in the Philosopher's Stone, which was pink and green. I'm going to flip that the other way around and make it a little bit more Christmassy. So our base icing is going to be green, and then we'll top it off with some royal red icing. You can personalize the message however you like. If you're giving it to someone as a gift, it's a lovely touch. As it's for Harry, I'm going to write Merry Xmas Harry on top, but you can do whatever you like. It's really easy to decorate it as well, so this is what you need to do. Our first layer is going to be marzipan, so I'm going to knead that in my hand for a couple of minutes to soften it. Sprinkle some icing sugar over your worktop and then roll it out to about 1/2 centimetre thick. I'm then going to use the base from my baking tin and cut out a circle. That's going to give us a nice top layer for our cake. To stick this down, you can either warm up some golden syrup or apricot jam and then spread that over the top of the cake. Carefully place your marzipan circle on top and then smooth that into place. Our next layer is going to be our fondant icing, so I'm going to dye some green, and you can add as much or as little food colouring as you like to get the right shade, and then I'm going to roll that out to 1/2 centimetre thick as well. Repeat the process of using the bottom of your baking tin to cut out your circle. Instead of syrup, I'm just going to brush the marzipan with some hot water, and that will help our fondant stick on top. Smooth that into place, and then I'm going to use a sharp knife to cut off and neaten the sides. Now, Hagrid's signature birthday cake from the movie did have a couple of squash marks on it, so I'm going to recreate those on the Christmas cake as well, using some fondant tools. Of course, it is optional, so you don't have to do this step if you don't want to. I'm going to pop this to one side to dry slightly while we move on to making our red royal icing. This is a really easy royal icing recipe. All you need to do is separate your eggs, as we only want the egg white, and then pour those into your bowl. Start whisking until frothy, and then I'm going to add in the icing sugar a spoonful at a time. Once that's all combined, you then want to add in some lemon juice. That will give you flavour as well as making the consistency better for you to write with. Add in your red food colouring, mixing it through until it's evenly coloured, and then I'm going to transfer this into a piping bag with a writing tip. If you're nervous about icing directly onto the cake, then I'd recommend using some parchment paper and practicing a few times. Once you're happy, you can just scrape that off and pop it back into your bag. All that's left to do is pipe your message on top. So I've gone for Merry Xmas Harry, but you can personalise this step if you like. For a final Christmassy touch, I've used some green fondant icing to cut out some holly leaves and then used some red icing to pop on the berries. And with that, Hagrid's Christmas fruitcake is complete. Harry, you're in for a treat. So there you have it, another Harry Potter twist on the traditional Christmas cake, this time with a lightly spiced fruit sponge and our custom Merry Xmas Harry decoration. Let me know down below in the comments if you're up for giving this one a go. That's all for this week's recipe, but if you want to see some more Harry Potter inspired recipes, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. It's cake time for me, so I'll see you next week. Thanks, Hagrid. Definitely Christmas.